What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. This is the starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's trip to Dens Park to face Dundee. Celtic return from the international break to start a run of 7 games that could shape the rest of the season. This is something we talked about briefly, albeit in the hour-long podcast we did here in the studio the other night with Callum and Lee. I'll link that up at the end in case you haven't watched it already. We spent most of it talking about the fallout in the minutes from the meeting the club had with the fan groups a couple of weeks ago, but there's no doubt on the pitch that the run of 7 games here can have a defining impact on the rest of the season. So far the team haven't performed to the usual levels that you would come to expect. I think the exit from the Champions League, everything that's gone on off the pitch has put a real strange energy amongst things so far, but we did get that late win over Motherwell before the break. Hopefully that can have a galvanising effect on the team. Hopefully some individuals can take confidence from turning that game around and their role in winning it for us as well, and we can find a better performance level, because I think we're going to need it going into this next run of games, because I think how we've played so far won't get us the results that we need in some of these bigger games that we've got coming up. Now, before we look at tomorrow's game in more detail, I just want to shout out Tees for Tims for sending us this t-shirt, the Retro Larson t-shirt. As you can see, a few of you have been asking why I haven't been wearing Celtic stuff on the videos recently. I think even before, by the way, before you jump to conclusions, even before any boycotts, I'd kind of stopped wearing Celtic stuff, mainly because I hadn't bought any new stuff. I didn't really like any of the stuff in the summer. I think back at the start of last season was the last time I bought some Celtic merchandise, so you get fed up wearing the same things video after video, and to be honest, it becomes out of date, last season's stuff. So shout out Tees for Tims, click the link in the description to check out what they've got. Use the code CelticFansTV for 10% off as well. So a big thank you to those guys for sending me this Larson shirt. Now, Dundee are currently sitting second bottom of the table. They haven't had a great start to the season by any means. They are, of course, managed by former Celtic defender and former Hearts defender Stephen Presley. They're 2 points ahead of Aberdeen, having played a game more. This is a game where you hope that Celtic can go and have a nice comfortable afternoon, get a comfortable win, stress-free, none of this usual pressure that we've come to expect in the last few weeks with these performances where you don't know what you're expecting. It'd be nice to just run out comfortable winners tomorrow, a nice trip up to Dundee, and an enjoyable trip home as well. Hopefully there's nothing like the exploits that we had to find against Motherwell a fortnight ago. For us, there is a couple of injury concerns. Daisen Maeda won't take part. He travelled away with Japan but didn't play any minutes due to a hamstring concern. I think Paulo Bernardo's been unwell, so I wouldn't expect him to take any part in tomorrow's game either. But aside from that, Alistair Johnston is back available, which can hopefully be a huge boost for us. He's a big player. I think Donovan's done well when he's come in. Ralston maybe less so, hasn't performed maybe quite so well. And I think regardless of Ralston and Donovan and where they're at, Alistair Johnston is one of the really key players for this Celtic team. And I think his energy up and down the right-hand side, I think is really, really important for us, particularly in an attacking sense as well as a defensive one. So hopefully his return to the team can boost us. I'm not sure if he's going to take. I'm not sure if he's going to start the game tomorrow. He might take some part, but we'll come back to that particular area of the pitch in a minute. But I think across the pitch, like I say, hopefully the international break has given the team. I know some boys have been away, but hopefully they can take something from that Motherwell game and really kick on now, because I think the performance level, whether it be that there's been an energy transfer with things going on off the pitch and in the boardroom with the manager and the transfer business, I don't know, but I think there's definitely not been that usual intensity to Celtic's performances, and hopefully they can find that starting tomorrow. So let's turn our attention then to what the starting 11 might look like. Again, in goals, I think a lot of you would rather see Viljami Sinisalo. I don't think there's any chance of that. I think Casper will keep his place. I covered this following the Braga game, getting into the Motherwell game. I don't think there's really any chance of Schmeichel having a prolonged spell on the bench, and that's that's wrong, maybe on the manager's behalf. It's his last season at the club. Could it be his last season as a professional footballer? That's to be seen. But I think his levels have dipped a wee bit. I just don't think there's any chance of Sinisalo getting a prolonged run. I think the next time to look for Sinisalo is in that semi-final at Hampden against Rangers, because he's played the League Cup games so far. And I think the least he deserves is to keep his place in that competition. So right back, I'm going Ralston. I really hope I'm wrong. I hope Johnston is back and he can come into this game and start. I think if that is the case, he'll only be able to give us 60 minutes. He's been out for, 9-10 weeks with that hamstring problem. So you wouldn't expect him to come back in, start the game, play 90 minutes by any means. We've got some bigger games coming up that we have to prepare him for and get him in the right condition for. I wouldn't mind seeing Donovan either, but I just think Brendan Rodgers might stick with Anthony Ralston, who started the game against Motherwell. Carter Vickers and Scales I expect to stay as a centre-half pairing. Sarachi started against Motherwell following, I think, Tierney's outing against Braga. I think Kieran will come back in. Again, you expect with this congested period of fixtures, that we've got coming up, that Kieran will come in and out of the team. That's what's happened so far, but I think he'll start tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens against Sturm Graz on Thursday. Now, the midfield is a big area of contention right now. Callum was trying to get my midfield out of me on the video the other night. It's really difficult to look for players in form in there. Callum McGregor will obviously start. I know there's some concerns around his form, but in front of him, I'm going to go Hatate and Nygren again, because I think that's the manager's go-to three. I think Bernardo obviously being out rules him out. I think Engels hasn't done anywhere near enough to be considered. McCowan did start the last time out against Motherwell, so I think he might just go back to that three of McGregor, Hatate, Nygren. Rightly or wrongly, I know that none of them have really performed at a particularly high level. Nygren's numbers are okay for his early days at the club, but aside from that, his all-round performance level hasn't been excellent either. So I think that's the three you'll go with. We might need changes from the bench, and you can let me know what you think of midfield. I find it really, really difficult, as I say, to come up with a three that I think really deserve their place and are really in better form than another three. I just think that's what the manager will go with tomorrow. In the front three, as I say, Dyson's out. I think that means Tenekte will go to the right-hand side, and I think we might see a start for Balikwisha on the left-hand side. Now, I know that he hasn't really impressed so far. He did play a key role when he got the assist for Dyson Maeda's winner. Brendan Rodgers made those comments about him sort of being taken by surprise and it all being a blur for him since he immediately arrived at the club, and everything going on, the pressure, adapting to what it's like to be a Celtic player. He has looked a bit shell-shocked by that. I think a game like this, when Dyson's out, is the ideal opportunity for him to come in and start and try and show us that he can perform from the start and he can add something to this team. I think that's a great opportunity to put Balikwisha in from the start and see what he's got. See if that moment against Motherwell has boosted his confidence, has sort of brought him out of his shell a wee bit. We did spend £4.5 million on him. We chased him for a long time. He does have to perform. He does have to prove why he's here. He does have to prove that he can step up and be a Celtic player. And I think tomorrow's a good opportunity for him to do that. Tenekte on the right-hand side, I think he might have even played some minutes on the right-hand side for Tunisia during that international break there. Again, you're just looking for more end product out of him. He's always bright. He does try and make things happen. He's direct. You just want some form of end product, be it in the form of an assist or a goal. But again, he's a young winger. Wingers tend to be inconsistent with their output, and hopefully he can continue to develop and improve, because he has been one of the bright spots so far this season. I'm going with Kelechi through the middle. Again, he's another one who we've been expecting to get better. Again, last time out against Motherwell, he puts a penalty away. You could have made an argument to leave him on the pitch longer, but there's obviously a feeling within the managerial team, with Brendan Rodgers, the staff, that he's not ready to give his 90 minutes. I'd like to see him build up to that, because when you're in the position where you need a goal late on in a game, he's the best option that we've got up front. He's arguably the only natural out-and-out striker of any decent level that we've got, so you want to see him on the pitch, because you think that he'll be able to sniff out a chance, and he'll get himself in the right position on a rebound or on a cross ball, and he'll put it away. Let's hope his condition is getting better, his sharpness is getting better. I think he's had some chances in these games, like if you think back to the Hibs game, maybe against Motherwell as well, where you think he could maybe have done better. I think his finishing should improve with his condition as well, but again, he is only 28 years of age, and we can't go through the full season hoping that he gets up to condition and sharpness when we need to rely on him so heavily right now, given the state of the squad. So let's hope that Iheanacho, his sharpness and his condition is better, and hopefully he can get himself on the score sheet tomorrow. So there you go. That's 11 I think Brendan Rodgers will go with. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you outside Dens Park with the full-time reaction tomorrow. Thank you.